fellas, before we get up out of here, last thing, Pete, have you been watching any? Because I know Dre has been doing it, and so have I. Have you been looking at any of the quarterbacks in college throughout the season, throughout the course of the season so far? Do you have anybody? I wouldn't even ask you to rank them right now because that's not even fair. Season's not even over. But the couple of quarterbacks that are your favorites, if you do have some people that you've been watching.
I like Corral a lot.
Okay.
I do like Pickett. I think my favorite prospect is Malik Willis. And I know he didn't have really a great showing at Ole Miss this past weekend, but I watched him play, and he reminds me so much of Syracuse McNabb. He got that same, like, little wiggle. He got that strong arm. Even have, like, similar builds, like 6'2", like 220. I'm nervous because we don't really develop quarterbacks like that, like whether it's Patrick Ramsey or Jason Campbell or RG3. Or, I mean, it's funny, the only quarterback here to develop is Kirk. And I'm not even going to go down that road right now. But he is definitely more raw than the others in that group, I would say. But I think the most upside of any quarterback in the draft is Malik Willis. And if we were to finish like around like 5-12 or like 6-11, you probably drafting around 10-11 anyway. You might have to trade up for somebody like Malik Willis. So that's a guy to keep an eye on. I would love to see him maybe get into a bowl game, face some tough comp one more time, and put on a good showing heading into the winter. But that's a guy I'm rolling with. I think he has upside. I'm not worried about him being raw. Just got to deal with it and get him to where he needs to be.
Absolutely. Dre, this is your opportunity, your time to shine. Talk to these boys about Pickett, man, and why he's not. Well, I think I saw your list recently. You had, I think it was interchangeable. I saw the comment, but you had this week, Corral over Pickett.
Well, yeah. So I actually like at least 3 to 4 guys in this draft. Like, I mean, and these are guys, like I said, I mean, so my number 1 right now is Corral. I would take Corral first, if I had to, top pick for a quarterback. And that's because, Corral has the legs and he has the arm talent. Like, he has really good arm talent. I do worry a bit with Corral that he could be a little bit one-read guy. Like, I mean, they run a lot of one-read stuff over there, a lot of the RPO stuff. So, he may take a bit to kind of adjust to an NFL offense in a sense. But I like him. I mean, I like him. He has the arm talent. He has the legs. And then there's Kenny Pickett. I mean, this guy watched his first game this year against Tennessee.
Two-glove bandit.
This year.
Hate that shit.
Yeah. The small hands. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater wears the 2 gloves. That's what the small-handed quarterbacks do. But Kenny Pickett, I love his feel in the pocket. I mean, pocket awareness is something you really can't teach. It's one of those things you have to have, and he's probably at an elite level with it. Like, he can always feel the pressure. He always knows where to go. One of the biggest knocks on him is that he's a late bloomer. But sometimes, some people just get it late. Some people just get the position late. Joe Burrow was a late bloomer. A lot of people kind of knock Joe Burrow for that. And I think Joe Burrow's a hell of a quarterback. And then my number 3 guy right now is Carson Strong. I mean, I think that's a guy that's being kind of slept on because he doesn't have mobility as the other quarterbacks in this class has. Carson Strong has an arm. He probably has the best arm in his draft. I mean, I kind of liken him to a young Matt Ryan. Which is, that's a damn good quarterback if you can get a young Matt Ryan, even though a lot of people say the NFL is changing and you have to have a mobile guy. But if Mac Jones is showing you don't need to be mobile in this league, if you know how to process and you know where to go on the field, you can play quarterback in this league. And I think Strong has a better arm than Matt Ryan. And then my number 4 guy, another guy I kind of view him as a Justin, not in the same kind of mode as a Justin Herbert, but in the same kind of way that Justin Herbert was talked about as Sam Howell. Like, Justin Herbert was the number 1 QB going into his draft year. He's the number one QB prospect going into his class year. And then there were concerns that, he's maybe not that guy. He's struggling a little bit. And I think Howell is getting some of that same treatment. He was the number 1 guy going into this year, but Howell has been a victim of, a lot of the talent that left UNC. I mean, one of the guys that plays for us now, Diami Brown, you know, he helped Howell, and Howell doesn't really help the offensive line, but Howell can run. I mean, he's actually a bulldozer as a quarterback. He reminds me of Tim Tebow as a runner, but a much better passer than Tim Tebow would ever be. So those are 4 guys I'm keeping my eye on. And as Paul talked about with Malik Willis, he's an intriguing guy. I'm just not sure he's the right fit here, because here he would be expected to be great right away, and I'm not sure he's a guy who can expect to be great right away, because he's raw right now, and you know, fans are going to turn on him. He has to get better with his decision making. I think he's a little bit a reckless runner. Like, he takes some big hits that he shouldn't take, and that's something we saw with RG3. So I get a little bit of those flashbacks when I watch Willis. So I think he's a great prospect, but here I just don't think he's the greatest fit, just because people expect him to be right away. I don't think he would be afforded that opportunity.
So Disco mentioned that people are going to P's point. He said that people are going to talk themselves out of Willis, small conference, poor showing in the Ole Miss game, but he can ball. And I think that's fair. I know that the 6 sacks in the first half wasn't, or 4 sacks in the first half, that wasn't really a good sighting from him. It was a lot that had to do with his decision making. I mean, obviously the offensive line was poor, but you could throw the ball away too. But with that being said, I think the reason I
don't get to talk about these quarterbacks, huh?
Oh yeah, no. I had to speak on Corral right quick.
Let me get my top 5 list. Dylan. No, let me stop.
Are you good?
But
man?
These quarterbacks. That's the thing about college, man. Everybody's working on like a one-read system. There's really only 2 quarterbacks I see that's going through progressions every Saturday. That's Sam Howell and Pickett out of Pittsburgh. You know, Malik Willis definitely can't read the field. He has all the talent to possibly be something, but at some point you just can't coach those type of things out of kids. You know, I'm iffy about this quarterback class. I mean, I guess we'll get a better glimpse of guys at like Senior Bowls and things of that nature. But I mean, if you just trust the tape, it's not really much to be excited about. Even when you talk about a guy like Matt Corral at Ole Miss, like a lot of people forget, maybe Ole Miss is not up there competing with the big boys like Bama, Georgia, LSU within the SEC. But Ole Miss gets a lot of 5-star talent at wide receiver, running back, offensive line. He has a lot of like blue chip players on his team, so it makes it a bit much easier, and that's probably why they do run a one read system most of the time. So, you know, at the end of the day, we'll see how it all plays out, but I'm not too confident about these quarterbacks coming out.
Yeah, like for me, I'll be quick with my thoughts because we're gonna get up out of here. For me, I think Pickett is probably the better option, like the safest option if Washington had a choice between Corral and Pickett. I think Pickett is the better option because first off, he's matured enough in terms of like the position. He has the reads, he has the elite throws, elite ball placement, and I think that's really good for him. But I like the reason why I'm so stuck on Corral is the potential that you can kind of see it. First off, I like when I started looking at him like intensively. I looked at a game against Tennessee. He was leading the league, leading his team in rushes and rushing yards. He had like 100 carries already for over 600 something yards. And we're not even at game 10 or game 12. Like we're not at the end of the season yet. And a guy like Corral, like 6'2", 215, I'm not really worried in terms of like him getting hurt. If you play like a runner, like you know how to protect yourself, or you know how to take the hits. Like it is what it is. That doesn't really concern me. But he's a guy who can make all the throws too. He has a huge arm, but I think his issue does sometimes come down to just being inconsistent with his reads. And that may take some time for him to kind of like develop in terms of seeing the field a little bit better. But at the same time, I think that's something you could work with versus somebody who doesn't really have pocket awareness or who struggles in that aspect, or somebody who struggles to see the field and literally stares down their guys to a point where it's a detriment. Like if Corral's seeing a guy that's not really open, he'll take off and run. And that's fine with me until you But if he becomes that person in the pros and only is that person in the pros, that's a problem. You kind of have to get him out of that and kind of help him work the field and see the field a little bit better. And that takes time. Like, you can see if he has that talent in terms of a thrower, you can build on that. And that's kind of where I think the concerns with Willis, when you say he has to like be it right away. And I agree. But if you're showing something in the passing game, people will want to work with you and they'll have that patience. So that's where I'm at in terms of Corral. Pickett, again, I think is the better option, but, you know, we'll see how that goes. What's going on, y'all? This is Jamal, and this is just your reminder that you can catch each and every live stream episode of the Trap or Die podcast Tuesday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern live on my Twitch channel. The link is in the description. And if you miss any episodes, you can catch the video on demand on my Twitch channel that takes you to each and every episode that you may have missed. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, where we post clips of the show, clips of interviews, interesting conversations, game analysis, film breakdowns, but also where we live stream our instant game analysis from each and every Washington football game immediately after the game is over. With that being said, I'm out of here. Y'all be safe, and I'll catch you next time.
Hold hard in the trenches. Ask a nigga what he benching. Triple digits, nigga. Don't forget to mention. Hold hard in the trenches. Ask a nigga.